Okay, dear students, today we'll start a new chapter that is fundamental unit of life cell. Fundamental unit of life that is cell. Okay, dear student, we have already went through this in 8th standard that cell is the most smallest unit any body organism is having. ठीक है, any organism's body is having. Basically, cell is also called as the structural and functional unit of any organism. What does it mean is that if there is any organism, let's say this is any organism, originally it is made up of many cells. It is made up of many cells. See? So the thing is that this complete body structure, what is its structure, how will be its structure, that is decided by the cells of that body. Moreover, fundamental unit of life or fundamental unit means this is a very common thing. Let's say in school is not working only because of one teacher or only because of one principal. All the staff, all the principals, all the students, when combined all of it together, when they all function with each other, then they constitute a school. So similarly, all the cells, when they work together, then this complete body or the organism is able to work properly. So the thing is that if this organism is having life, or if we say that this organism is alive, the reason is that in that there are many live cells working all together. That's why it is known as a fundamental unit of life. Each and every cell have its own life. In this chapter, we will go through the concept that what is cell, how does it work, moreover, what is inside the cell. These all things we will be going through in this chapter. See, dear students, as we know that cell is the structural unit of any body, very important. Few organisms are such that their complete structure is only a single cell. Means there are two types of organism based on the number of cell. Any organism made up of one cell, only one cell, it is known as unicellular organism. Any organism made up of two or more than two cells, two or more than two cells, then it is called as multicellular organism. See, my dear students, very important. In unicellular organism, there is a single cell. See, this single cell is the main whole structure, each and everything of that organism. In multicellular, there are many cells constituting a single organism. See, my dear students, very important. In unicellular, all the activities, very important. See, my dear students, to survive, any organism needs to perform a certain basic activities because of it is alive. So very important, in unicellular all the activities are performed by a single cell, whereas in this different activities are performed by different cells. Moreover, in such organism there is division of labor. Means different cells are given different functions. A single cell does not do all the functions. It is having a special or specialization, that is its structure is something special, its shape is special to perform any special activity. Moreover, example of unicellular organisms is amoeba. Multicellular organisms example are humans. See, my dear students, in amoeba, this single cell is related or has to perform the reproduction, whereas in our body or in multicellular organism, any particular type of cell is there for reproduction. Okay. Very important in this unicellular organisms mostly fission. Okay, fission is there, binary fission, and very important. Whereas in this there are mitosis and meiosis processes being followed in multicellular. See my dear students, basically unicellular organisms are having a short lifespan, whereas as compared to them multicellular organisms are having much longer lifespan. See my dear students, any organism having cell, but how does we came to know that yes there is a cell, our body is made up of such things and all. So now we will go through the discovery of cell, how we got to know about the cell. Okay, that is discovery of cell. Very important. For that you need to understand what is it called. Trees having stem, if I peel out this outermost part of this stem, okay, this is known as cork. If I cut out a thin slice of this bark of the tree, then what I get is a cork. Very important. Scientist named Robert Hooke. Robert Hooke took this cork and observed this cork. He took this cork and observed this cork under his microscope. Under his microscope, what he observed was that he saw that this cork is originally made up of very small chambers, very small hexagonal chambers. Okay, we observed that this is made up of very small chambers. Very important, he got to know that each and every living thing is made up of many small chambers or rooms, and he named these chambers or rooms cell. Originally cell in German means rooms. What he observed that as in honeycomb you can observe many hexagonal columns, yes or no? So similarly he observed that this cork was made up of many hexagonal columns and he named them cell. Further studies we got to know that each and every organism is made up of cell. See my dear friends, but in further studies we got to know that originally based on the cell there are two types of organisms. Those are prokaryotic organisms and eukaryotic organisms. As we got to know that yes, all the organisms are made up of cells. In further studies we got to know that originally cells, and based on the categories of cell there are two types of organisms. As we all know, organisms. They are basically of two types, that is prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes and eukaryotes. What does this mean? Prokaryotes are those organisms who are having prokaryotic cell. Prokaryotic cells. And eukaryotes have eukaryotic cells. What does this originally mean? Basically, pro means primitive. Pro means primitive. That is not fully developed. Not fully developed. Whereas eukaryotic cells are fully developed. If I say, what does this mean? So what is that? See my dear students, any cell, it is basically having three structures: plasma membrane, cytoplasm and nucleus. What happens in that is that in prokaryotic cell, this central region, this nuclear region, this nuclear region does not have any membrane or boundary, whereas in eukaryotic cells, this nuclear region has a boundary or a membrane known as nuclear membrane. It does not have any membrane. It is freely moving in the cytoplasm. It is freely moving in the cytoplasm, whereas in eukaryotic cells, it is separated by the cytoplasm by this membrane. Very important. This nuclear region is known as nucleoid. Nucleoid. Whereas there is no nucleoid in this. This is a complete nucleus with membrane. Here you can find a dense material known as nucleolus. Very important. In nucleoid there is no nucleolus. Very important. See my dear student, there are many other organelles too present in the cytoplasm, and these organelles have membranes. These organelles have membranes. Whereas in prokaryotic cell, many organelles with membranes are not present. This is the main difference. Very important. Organisms, based on how much developed their cell is, they are of two types. Those are prokaryotes and eukaryotes. Prokaryotes are not fully developed cells. They are having nuclear region, but it is having no nuclear membrane. It is freely suspended into the cytoplasm. That is known as nucleoid, and this part is known as nucleoid. Whereas in eukaryotic cell, it is having a well-developed nuclear membrane. It is having a well-developed nuclear membrane, and it is also having many cell organelles which have membrane, whereas neither does it have any membrane, that is nuclear membrane. Moreover, many cell organelles having membranes are absent in it. Very important. In this nucleus, there is a central dark part in it known as nucleolus, whereas this complete central nuclear region without the membrane is known as nucleoid. This is the main difference. Very important. In prokaryotic cells, you can find many bacteria which are prokaryotes, and in eukaryotic cells, you will find in many humans, animals, well-developed animals. Okay. So, my dear students, now one by one we will see about cell. See, my dear students, there is a vast variety of cell. Vast variety of cell. So, what happens is that, why this variety is that, see my dear students, any organism having large number of cells, let's say in humans. Basically, in humans, there is division of labor. There is division of labor within the cell. What does this mean is that, let's say these are the cells. Okay, these are the different cells. Different cells are having different function or work. Means work is divided between them. Okay, a single cell is not doing all the functions. Moreover, cell shape, cell volume, cell size, and cell number. See my dear students, in organisms you will find many different cells of different shape. The reason is that the shape fully depends on the particular function of that cell. Let's say in humans you will find discoidal, spherical, longitudinal, and branched. These all different types of cells you will be finding. Discoidal, you can see RBCs. Discoidal means like disc, pedas which we eat in the Diwali. Spherical, like sphere, that is ostrich egg, hen egg. Longitudinal means having a good length. Then you can find the nerve cell, it is very much lengthy. Okay. Branched also you can find, this one is highly branched. So different cells. This is swan, it is having a long tail, and this is our muscle cell. It is sharp edged at the ends. This is our nerve cell. So different cells and different shapes. The shape fully depends on the function of that particular cell. Cell volume and cell size. See my dear student, cell size and volume varies a lot. Bacteria and viruses, originally even viruses many times not considered living when it is out of the host. Bacteria are very small to an ostrich egg, that is about 18 centimeter in diameter. This much big. That is also a cell. Okay. So basically cell size varies a lot, and cell number. See my dear student, if you are having rat at your home and if you are having cow at your home, you can see cow is a very huge animal, whereas rat is a very small animal. So basically rat is having very less number of cells, whereas cow is having very large number of cells. So cell number, different organisms have different number of cells. You can find organisms such as amoeba which is having single cell, to us having trillions of cells, to blue whale having many folds, number of folds cells as compared to us. Okay dear students, now we will see structure of a cell. What is the structure of a cell? See my dear student, basic structure of a cell. Very important, my dear student. In cell, the most three important components are the plasma membrane, the nuclear region, and cytoplasm. See my dear students, we will go through these one by one. What is a plasma membrane? Each and every cell have a boundary. Means each and everything of that cell is within that boundary, or this plasma membrane keeps each and everything of the cell within it. That is the plasma membrane. Each and every cell has its own plasma membrane. Nuclear region. The central dense part is known as the nuclear region. And cytoplasm, this part between the plasma membrane and this nucleus membrane, this part is known as cytoplasm. Very important. Cytoplasm have many cell organelles in it. So one by one we will go through all the things. First of all, we will see plasma membrane and cell wall. See my dear students, each and every cell is basically having, now we will see plasma membrane. Plasma membrane is the outermost boundary of any cell. This is the plasma membrane. Now each and everything of cell is within it. Plasma membrane is very much flexible. Okay. Second thing is that in plasma membrane each and everything is there. I will just as of now draw this. This is the nucleus, central dense part, and this is the cytoplasm. Very important. Plasma membrane is a selectively permeable membrane. Selectively permeable membrane. That is, it is having passage places, means things can go in and out of the cell by this plasma membrane, but only selected things are having permissions to pass through it. That's why it is called a selectively permeable membrane. See my dear student, very important. This exchange takes place through the process of diffusion, osmosis, exocytosis and endocytosis. Very important. See my dear students, diffusion means, what happens in diffusion is that any material, any substance always goes from a high concentration to low concentration. In this process, no energy is required. Moreover, diffusion of water is known as osmosis. Diffusion of water is known as osmosis. See my dear students, let's say blood capillaries are there and blood is having a lot of oxygen in it. There is a lack of here, oxygen is more large in amount or concentration is more. So it allows semi-permeable membrane allows selected thing to pass through it, such as oxygen, carbon dioxide, many salts, water, amino acids, proteins. So here concentration is less. So what happens is that oxygen goes into the cell. So now there is a lot of oxygen into it. We have got oxygen. After that, respiration process takes place, and in respiration, carbon dioxide is produced. When carbon dioxide produced, its concentration increases in cell, then this by diffusion goes into a place where there is less concentration of carbon dioxide and it comes out. What is osmosis? In osmosis, diffusion of water takes place. Very important. Same thing, water from the high concentration goes to the low concentration. That is, but very important, when the whole water is used up by the cell, what happens is that water is present here in the capillaries, it comes into the cell. Okay, so this process takes place by osmosis. Very important, there are, while osmosis takes place, what happens is that we will just take example, 3 examples of solutions. See my dear students, if we put I have taken 3 solutions and I put resin into it. If the resin is put into normal water, resin is very much sweet. It is having less water in it and sugar more. As it is having less water, water's concentration is more in this water, regular water, so it will go into the membrane or the resin and the resin will swell. The resin will swell. Such a solution is known as hypotonic solution. If, as we know, resin is sweet and I have put this resin in a sweet solution or a sugar solution, if the concentration of sugar or water in both inside the resin and outside the resin is same, resin will neither swell nor shrink, means neither water will exit into it, neither it will exit. Such a solution is known as isotonic solution. Very important, as we know, resin is sweet. Okay, very important, as we know, resin is sweet, and I have made a very concentrated solution, sugar solution, means sugar is a lot more in this water, liquid solution outside. As here sugar is more, water will be less, and in resin water will be more. Okay, so the water will leave the resin, come out, and the resin will shrink. Such a solution is known as hypertonic solution. So cell can even shrink, even swell or remain same, depends on the concentration of water in it and outside it. So my dear students, the exchange of material in plasma membrane, through plasma membrane in the cell takes place. These processes is diffusion and osmosis. In these, no energy is consumed, but in exocytosis and endocytosis, energy is required. What is endocytosis? Endocytosis is also known as egestion of material. Means there are many solid materials, many ions outside the cell which need to be sent into the cell. Okay, proteins, amino acid. So energy is consumed and they are sent into the cell. This process is known as egestion or endocytosis. Very important. Our whole cell is doing a lot of activities and metabolism. A lot of waste is generated, such as metabolic waste and many secretions of the cell, such as hormones that are synthesized in the cell, all needs to be sent out of the cell. So very important, this process is done by exocytosis, means to take out the material or to take the material outside the cell via plasma membrane. So this was the main structure, how plasma membrane is made. It is flexible, it allows a few selected material to be in and out. See my dear students, plasma membrane is present in each and every cell, but very important, what is that? In plants, there is a special extra covering on this plasma membrane, that is cell wall. In plant cell, okay, plasma membrane is there. Plasma membrane is also present in animal cell, but in plant cell, this is plasma membrane. On it, an extra rigid, tough covering is present, and this covering is known as cell wall. Very important, my students, cell wall is present only in plants. Very important, this cell wall is tough and rigid. Very important, this cell wall helps to maintain the shape of the cell. Very important, as we know, plasma membrane is very much flexible, but it is very much tough. Moreover, cell wall is permeable membrane, means it gives permission to go in and out of any material, means pass through it, but it does not have any barrier for a selected material. It allows each and everything to pass through it. Water goes into it, the cell swells, but it does not allow the cell to swell a lot. It maintains the turgidity of the cell. Very important, plasma membrane is made up of proteins and lipids. Whereas this cell wall is made up of cellulose and lignin. Very important, this thing becomes very tough. Moreover, in plants, this cell wall is also having a hole known as pits. In xylem cells, there are pits present. Pits means hole. So these pits allow the transfer of water, and pits allow a lot of good exchange of material in the cell. Very important, dear students, cell wall helps to give the mechanical strength to the plant. This is a very important thing. It helps in giving mechanical support to the plant. Okay, my dear student. Plasma membrane and cell wall. This is the outermost membrane of any cell. Cell wall and extra boundary is present in plants, and cell membrane is present in each and every cell. Plasma membrane in each and every cell. Cell wall in plants. Now we will see nuclear region. Very important. Okay. See my dear students, this is plasma membrane. At the center of any nucleus there is nuclear region known as nucleus. Very important. In nucleus there is a liquid or aqueous solution called as nucleoplasm. Nucleoplasm. Very important. This nucleus is having two membranes. Let's take this one first membrane and one more membrane. Okay. It is two membrane. It is having first one and second one, and the space between these two membrane is known as nuclear envelope. Very important. It is two membrane formed. Okay. This membrane, two membranes form the nuclear envelope. This part is the nuclear envelope. It is having pores in it known as nuclear pores or nucleopores. These pores help in the exchange of material inside to the outside of nucleus or outside material to come inside the nucleus. Very important. This nucleus is also having very dense and dark material in it known as nucleolus. Moreover, it is having thin thread-like structure in it known as chromatin. See my dear student, nucleus is at the center, that is the nucleus. It is two membrane and having nuclear envelope, and pores are present in it, that holes are present in it for the exchange of material. The aqueous solution in it is known as nucleoplasm. It is having very dense part known as nucleolus. Very important. Nucleoplasm is the site of a lot of places. Nucleolus is rich in proteins and is having RNA. Very important, that is ribonucleic acid, and this nucleolus is very much active in the formation of ribosomes. Ribosomes are made up of RNA. Okay, ribosomes is a cell organelle. Moreover, this nucleus is having RNA, having many proteins, and it is main reason for the synthesis of ribosomes. Moreover, this chromatin is having DNA and chromosomes in there. Very important, chromosomes and DNA. DNA is the deoxyribonucleic acid, and chromosomes are the thread-like structure. In chromosomes you will find DNA. Very important. This nuclear region or this nucleus is the controlling the cell. It is controlling the complete cell. It is the brain of the cell, you can say. It is controlling the many of the cell activities. Moreover, the DNA or the chromatin material is responsible for cell generation. Along with cell generation, it transfers the characteristics to the next generation. Means the heredity part is in it. Okay, that is the genes. The genes are the main reason for the transfer of the characteristics or the genes in this cell. There are many in chromatin part. There are many chromosomes, thread-like structure. Okay, these chromosomes are having DNA molecules in their, genes are present. Those are the main reasons for transfer of characteristics from one generation to another. Moreover, in many cells, single pair of chromosomes are present, such as sex gametes, and in other cells, pair of chromosomes is present. Okay, my dear students, now you can see plasma membrane, nuclear region. Now very important, now is the cytoplasm. Plasma membrane is in each and every cell. Okay, central part, that is nucleus. Now between plasma membrane and the nuclear membrane, this aqueous part is called cytoplasm. See my dear students, many metabolic activities takes place in cytoplasm. Many activities such as glycolysis, many material movements all takes place in this. Moreover, in cytoplasm there are cell organelles. What are cell organelles? See my dear student, even cell is having many parts in it. As our body is having many parts in it known as organs, similarly cell is also having many parts within it which work individually. Those are known as cell organelles. There are many cell organelles in it. There are mitochondria, endoplasmic reticulum, ribosomes, Golgi apparatus, lysosomes, then peroxisomes, centrioles, plastids, vacuoles. So these all are the different organelles present in the cytoplasm. In cytoplasm, many metabolic activities are taking place. Moreover, this cytoplasm is also continuously having movements. Means things are continuously moving in it. Moreover, many sugars, water, and all the things are present in it. Salts, amino acids, proteins. The most important thing is that the cytoplasm is having all these cell organelles in it. Now, one by one, we will see all the cell organelles. First of all, we will see endoplasmic reticulum. What is endoplasmic reticulum? Cell nucleus. Basically, endoplasmic reticulum is embedded at the nuclear envelope and it continues up to the plasma membrane. Okay, this is having many membranous structure. This is endoplasmic reticulum, short form is ER. These are two types, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum and smooth endoplasmic reticulum. This rough endoplasmic reticulum is rough because it is having many ribosomes attached on it. It is having many ribosomes attached to it. See my dear student, basically endoplasmic reticulum is having many fistulas like structure, vesicles and many tubules. Okay, see basically a lot of material from nucleoplasm, if needs to be sent outside the cell, then endoplasmic reticulum does that work. Moreover, endoplasmic reticulums do synthesis of a lot of material. See my dear student, in this rough endoplasmic reticulum is helping in synthesis of a lot of protons or proteins. Moreover, smooth endoplasmic reticulums helps a lot in detoxification too. Very important. If there needs to be an exchange from the nuclear region to the outside the cell, then this is a very good pathway for it. Very important, my dear students. Along with the endoplasmic reticulum is the Golgi apparatus. Very important. This Golgi apparatus is also a bit similar to the endoplasmic reticulum. See my dear students, this endoplasmic reticulum and Golgi apparatus are somewhat helping both of them are somewhat doing a very good work of the synthesis of a lot of material. Endoplasmic reticulum, near this there is the Golgi apparatus. Here this is the Golgi apparatus. Okay. Golgi apparatus main function is packing. Okay. A lot of synthesis is being done by endoplasmic reticulum. Even Golgi apparatus also do a lot of synthesis of a lot of material. Then what do is doing is that it packages the material. It means packs that material. You can say that Golgi apparatus is an assembly area. Okay. That synthesized material go to the Golgi apparatus. It packs it and sends out of the cell, such as hormones, mucus. In hormones you can say testosterone and insulin. So both these, that is endoplasmic reticulum, having main function of the synthesis of material, and along with that, that synthesized material goes to Golgi apparatus. Even Golgi apparatus also synthesizes a lot of material, and it after that it packages in the packets or whatever required form and then sends it. Very important. Golgi apparatus also helps in the formation of plasma membrane. Okay. Moreover, Golgi apparatus also forms vacuoles. Don't worry what are vacuoles, we will see at the end. Okay. So Golgi apparatus, endoplasmic reticulum. Okay, my dear students. Endoplasmic reticulum, see, all of these are having membranes, but very important, ribosomes does not have any membrane. All other these all are having membranes. Golgi apparatus have a membrane, endoplasmic reticulum have a membrane. This is nucleus. You can find ribosomes suspended in the cytoplasm. Okay. Ribosomes suspended in the cytoplasm, and in ER, that is rough endoplasmic reticulum, also on this its surface you can find ribosomes. On the surface of smooth endoplasmic reticulum there are no ribosomes, and on the surface of rough endoplasmic reticulums ribosomes are present. Ribosomes are rich in RNA, that is ribonucleic acid. It is made up of that only. Very important. Ribosomes helps in the synthesis of proteins. Very important. In our cell, ribosomes is a lot involved in the synthesis of lot of material. Endoplasmic reticulum synthesis helps Golgi apparatus in synthesis and packing. Ribosomes also helps in synthesis. See, my dear students, now for all these processes energy is required. Okay, in ribosomes, only and only in ribosomes, see my dear students, in ribosomes no membrane. All other than these things all are having membranes in them. Now we will see mitochondria. In cell energy is required, so an organelle is there known as mitochondria. Mitochondria is double membraned cell organelle. It is a double membraned cell organelle. See, if we cut the cell, this mitochondria, basically mitochondria are spherical, cylindrical, rod shaped. Okay, if we longitudinally cut the mitochondria, you will see it is two membrane. This is the first membrane. Okay, and this is the second membrane. It is having many folds inside it. Okay, this is the first membrane and this is the second membrane. In it is having its own DNA. Moreover, even mitochondria can even synthesize its own proteins. Very important. It is also known as, mitochondria is also known as semi-autonomous synthesizer. Why? Because it is able to synthesize its own proteins. It is having its own DNA. Mitochondria have its own DNA. Even plastids also have their own DNA. See my dear friends, in mitochondria there are holes in the membranes. Through these holes, oxygen goes into it, glucose is present in the cytoplasm, goes into it, and a very important process, respiration. Respiration takes place. During respiration, energy is released. Very important. To our cell, energy is given by mitochondria. That's why mitochondria is known as powerhouse of the cell. Very important. The second membrane is folded inside it so as to increase the surface area. Moreover, this energy is used in chemical processes, in many mechanical processes, and after that it is stored. How? This matrix is having phosphate in it. Okay, so this phosphate helps in storing this energy, and this energy is stored in the form of ATP, that is adenosine triphosphate. Adenosine triphosphate. Very important. Adenosine triphosphate, it is a form in which energy is stored. This is also known as the energy currency of cell. ATP is the energy currency of the cell. So very important. Mitochondria is having its own DNA. Plastids also have their own DNA, and mitochondria is the powerhouse of the cell. Okay. See my dear friends. Now we will see mitochondria done, endoplasmic reticulum done, ribosomes done, Golgi apparatus done. Okay. Plastids. Generally, plastids are present in plants. Okay. Not present in animal cells. Very important. Plastids not present in animal cells. Okay. Only in Euglena cells hardly few plastids are present. After that, in no animal cell plastids is present. Plastids are of three types, that is chloroplast, chromoplast, and leucoplast. Plastids, chromoplast, are the colored materials in the cytoplasm. I am drawing like this. It is a single membrane. Okay. Organelle. Chloroplast are green colored plastids. Chromoplast are colored plastids, but color is other than green. Leucoplast are colorless plastids. So first of all, we will see the use of chloroplast. Chloroplast are having green color pigment in them. If this is a chloroplast, chloroplast have a green colored pigment called chlorophyll in them. This chlorophyll is very important for photosynthesis. This traps the light energy, okay, converts it into chemical energy, and then this energy utilized for photosynthesis. So in chloroplast, photosynthesis takes place. Photosynthesis takes place not in the complete cell of the plant, but in cell organelle, in the plastid, and that also chloroplast. Very important. That's why chloroplasts are known as the kitchen of the cell. Kitchen of the cell. See my dear friends, chromoplast, they are also having colored pigments in them. Very important. The color of the fruits, the color of the flowers, all are because of the chromoplast. See my dear friends, these colors are very important for attracting many birds, bees for the pollination. Moreover, what is the use of leucoplast? Leucoplast are colorless plastids, but they helps in storage. They store a lot of starch in them. So my dear friend, plastids, they are the kitchen of the cell. They are having green colored plastids, that is having chlorophyll in them on the side of photosynthesis. Chromoplast having other colored pigments in them, give color to the plants. Okay. and helps in the pollination and attracting many other things. And the leucoplast, that is a colorless plastics, helps in the storage. Okay, my dear students, plastics are present in plants. Now, very important, peroxisomes. Plastics, okay. Peroxisomes. Peroxisomes are in cytoplasm. This is our nucleus. Peroxisomes, very important, my dear students. Peroxisomes helps a lot in detoxification. Very important. Peroxisomes are mostly present in the liver and kidney. Liver and kidney. These cells of liver and kidney are having a lot of peroxisomes. Basically, peroxisomes do a good oxidation of your poisonous material H2O2, that is hydrogen peroxide. Very important, this is a poison for our cell. Okay, so what this peroxisome do is that it oxidizes this H2O2 into H2O and O2, means this converts this H2O2 hydrogen peroxide into water and oxygen. So directly indirectly it saved our cell. It helps in detoxification. It detoxifies few other chemicals also, but the most important detoxification it do is of hydrogen peroxide. It converts this H2O2 into H2O and O2. Now this O2 is utilized for our respiration and H2O is used by our cell. Okay, so very important, peroxisomes. Now lysosomes. See my dear students, basically lysosomes is our cell is lysosomes are having a membrane, and in this membrane there are enzymes, digestive enzyme present in it. Very important, these digestive enzymes can digest any organic material. These enzymes can digest any organic material. What these do is that many a times if any foreign cell such as bacteria or anything enters my cell, what these do is that these kill them and digest it. So very important, it helps me from many diseases, from alien attack of other foreign cells such as bacteria and many other viruses. Very important, many times let's say there is any ribosome or any endoplasmic reticulum part or any other organelle which is not functioning properly, what it will do is that it will also digest that material, means it is also helping me to generate new organelles, or means it destroys the non-functioning organelles. Okay, it helps in generating new functioning organelles. Moreover, it also digests other organic waste and helps in disposal of wastage material. Most important, this is also known as the disposing part of our body, garbage disposal. Moreover, if my cell is now not able to function properly, okay, this lysosome will burst and this digestive enzyme will completely go into the cell and will fully eat up or digest the cell, means it will finish the cell. So very important, lysosome is also known as suicidal bags of the cell. Okay, my dear students. Now centrioles. Centrioles are present only in animal cell. Okay, my dear students, you need to memorize which organelle is present in which cell, which organelle is not present in the another cell. Very important. Centrioles are present in the centrosomes. Cell They are present in animal cell, not in plant cells. This is our nucleus. Centrioles have centrosomes have centrioles. These are like this. Okay, you can see drawing much spindles and bundles. This is having spindles. Okay, very important. This helps in the or works during the cell division time. Moreover, what are vacuoles? Vacuoles are storage sacs. Storage SACS. Storage sacs means there are vacuoles present in the cell. They are having jelly like, basically they are having a lot of water, and many times they store the food of the cell. Along with that, they are having many salts and other things stored in them. Very important, my dear students. Vacuoles are either not present in animal cell, or if they are present, they are very small or temporary. Whereas in plant cells, there are very large vacuoles. Vacuoles have a lot of water in them, many other useful things such as salts and food stored in them. The basic function of vacuoles is the storage of material. So my dear student, these all are the cell organelles. Now see my dear student, we need to know a bit difference between plant cell and animal cell. We have seen that many cell organelles and many things, few of them are present in plants and few of them are not present in plant. So very important. Animal cell, plant cell. Plasma membrane present? Yes. Plasma membrane present? Yes. This is plasma membrane present in both them. Plant cells are generally more bigger in size, animal cells are smaller. Plant cells have cell wall, whereas cell wall is not present in animal cell. Animal cell are very small and temporary vacuoles. In plant cell, many times cells are very much bigger. Vacuoles are very much bigger, at least consuming 80% to 90% of the space, because of which the other cell organelles comes at the corner. In animal cell, nucleus is at the center, whereas due to the size of vacuole, many times nucleus comes at the periphery. Okay, my dear students, plastids are present in it, whereas no plastids are present in animal cell. In animal cell, you will find centrosomes, where no centrosomes are present in it. Okay. Mitochondria is present in it. Endoplasmic reticulum. Golgi apparatus. Okay. Peroxisomes, quite less peroxisomes or no peroxisomes. So my dear student, the most prominent difference is that it is having cell wall, no cell wall. Plastids, no plastids. Bigger in size, smaller in size. Small or temporary vacuoles, permanent or very big vacuoles. Generally large in size, generally smaller in size. So dear students, this was the main concept of cell, and only these all cells work together, because of which our body is overall able to work. That's why cell is called as the fundamental unit of life. So our chapter is over.